welcome to another episode of Positive Parenting with Astrology. I'm your host and resident Gemini, Maria Riegger, and today we're talking about how to parent your Libra moon child. If you have not seen my video on how to parent your Libra sun child, you can check that out on my channel. This video is at the request of one of you audience members. I am getting to all your requests for content in the order in which I receive them. If you have a request for a specific video, a specific zodiac sign combination, please leave a comment below and I promise I will get to it. Well, I'm here after a transformative Scorpio and eclipse season. I got a lot of good things happening. First, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for your free, regular Positive Parenting with Astrology content. If you are interested in getting planetary forecasts, other freebies, and finding out about events I'll be hosting and events where I'll be speaking and doing readings, sign up for my newsletter. The link is below in the video description. Also, we are very, very close to monetizing this channel. When we monetize this channel, my sister and I will do a special live presentation to answer all your burning questions about Aquarius and Gemini energy. My sister is an Aquarius sun with the Gemini moon. She's a medical doctor. She's a very talented individual. She also has a wonderful, sarcastic sense of humor. It must run in the family or something. Anyway, she and I will be doing a live event once we monetize this channel. So I would very much appreciate it if you would share my channel with anyone you think would be interested in this content, so we can get to that monetization as quickly as possible to be able to provide you guys even more content. So Libra moon, what is special about the Libra moon child? Well, as always, I'm going to give you a high level overview of Libra energy. We're going to talk about the significance of the moon, and then I'm going to get into the specific positive parenting tips for when you have a Libra moon child. Remember, Libra is masculine energy. Air is a masculine energy. So Libra is a cardinal air sign. So cardinal modality means it's intent on moving forward, on progression, on advancement. And air quality means that Libra people are in their heads a lot of the time. This is a sign that has a lot of mental activity. And when the moon is in an air sign, remember the moon is a very fast moving body. It changes signs every 2 to 2.5 days. When the moon is in an air sign, the energy is amped up. The mental acuity, the mental activity is amped up. It kind of gives a very quick-paced, fast-moving nature to that person. Now, the moon rules our one-on-one relationships. Your moon sign in your chart signifies, it rules your emotional life. It informs how you express emotions, how you connect emotionally with other people, usually in a one-to-one situation, how you recharge your energy, how you communicate in relationships. It informs how you handle that give and take necessary in healthy relationships. It deals with anything that subconsciously touches on your emotions. Think of it as ruling your emotional life. So as you can see, the moon in somebody's chart is very informative regarding how they behave in relationships. And it informs relationship compatibility when you're looking at the moon sign and moon house position in someone else's chart when you're in a one-to-one relationship with them. So when we talk about parent-child relationships, obviously the moon sign of your children is going to be very important. Now, when the moon, which rules relationships and how we show up in relationships, is in the sign of Libra, it tends to give a fast-moving nature to that energy. So somebody with a Libra moon tends to either get into relationships quickly, move from relationship to relationship very quickly, and or move through the stages of a relationship very quickly. Okay, so when they meet someone, they may get into an exclusive relationship quickly, or at least it may seem quick to other people. This is obviously something to bear in mind as your kids get older, become adolescents and teens and young adults. So this is something, you as a parent can remember this aspect of the Libra moon, and you can use it to inform the guidance you give to your kids, okay? My son is a teenager now, so I'm thinking from this aspect. So the thing about Libra as an air sign is, like its sister air signs, Gemini and Aquarius, it approaches the world from a place of rationality and detachment, right? We always talk about the water signs approaching the world from a place of intuition and feeling and emotion. They kind of make decisions based on how they feel about something. Air signs typically make decisions based on weighing pros and cons or being very rational. The big thing that differentiates Libra from its sister air signs, Gemini and Aquarius, is that Libra, being associated with the seventh house and ruled by Venus, is a relationship-oriented sign. Its opposite sign is Aries. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, right? Associated with the first house. It's the sign of self. Aries people assert themselves in the stage of life. It's about I am. So Libra is the opposite sign to that. Libra signifies you are. Libra people identify very strongly with the other person in the relationship. They find the give and take necessary in healthy relationships to come very naturally to them. This is all good stuff. This bodes really well for healthy relationships. Libra moon children seek connection and attachment with others. So obviously that bodes well for the parent-child relationship because that promotes attachment with the parents. So that's all good stuff. Where this dynamic becomes tricky is that sometimes Libra moon people identify too much with the needs of the other person in the relationship and they subjugate their own needs, which as a parent, you want to be mindful of that. Libra moon people seek emotional validation through relationships. It is essential for the parent to understand this and to validate emotions of the child. And Libra moon children need that give and take in relationships. They thrive when there's a balance and there's a give and take in relationships, when there's communication and connection. And remember, Libra is associated with the sign of the symbol of the scales, right? Which represents justice, balance, harmony. So Libra moon children are always unconsciously seeking that balance and harmony in relationships. And again, that's really good for you, the parent, to know because that can inform the guidance you give your Libra moon child when they're engaging in friendships and as they get older, when they engage in, more romantic relationships. You want to make sure that you're teaching them and you're modeling for them healthy relationship dynamics. So to that end, you, the parent, need to make sure you are emotionally available and emotionally responsive for your Libra moon child. What does that look like? When the child makes a bid for connection with you, make sure you can pay attention to them. You can tell them, hey, I'll be with you in just a minute. I have to finish this one thing. And then when you do focus on your child, make sure you're actually focused on them. You're making eye contact with them. You've put away other distractions. You are listening to them and you are seeing them and hearing them. And you are making sure that they feel seen and heard by you. And when your Libra moon child comes to you in a bid for connection, which often can take the form of them wanting to share something with you, wanting to show you a video, wanting to show you a meme even, wanting to share something with you that happened that day at school, wanting to ask you for guidance. Those are all bids for connection when children do those things with the parents. So when your Libra moon child makes a bid for connection with you like that or something similar, make sure you do not use it as an opportunity to criticize them or critique them or improve them in some way. Make sure you are using that moment where they are seeking connection with the parent, right? Which happens less as they get older. Make sure you're using that moment to actually create and strengthen the connection. You are listening to them first and offering guidance before you are criticizing them or correcting them in some way. Because when someone seeks connection with you, if all you're doing is correcting them, they're eventually going to feel not good enough and they're going to stop seeking connection with you because they feel bad. So it does not mean that you never get to have the opportunity to correct or criticize your kids, but you should respond with connection first. And anytime you are providing feedback or constructive criticism to your kids, it should come from a place of guidance, right? It should come from a place of, I'm going to share with you something that has helped me with this in the past, and hopefully it's helpful for you too. Or what do you think about how you handled it? Or what do you think you could have handled that a different way and had a different outcome? Or how much control do you think you really had over this situation? Or Let me show you or talk to you about something that may help you with this. Or let's find a way that would help you with this. Let's find something that would help you with this, right? Those are all statements that you can use to give guidance, but the child is not receiving it as criticism, and they're not receiving the message of, wow, I'm not good enough, right? Or I'm a failure. And you obviously don't want to be communicating that to your child. And remember, Libra children seek emotional validation through relationships, first through the relationships with their parent. Relationships with the parents are the first model relationships kids take forward with them into the world. Now, we mentioned earlier that when the moon is in the sign of Libra, that can tend to ramp up or amp up the relationship stuff, right? That can tend to, for older kids, young adults, it can tend to make them either get into relationships quickly, move from relationship to relationship quickly, or go through the stages of a relationship quickly. And this applies to friendships. Libra moon children typically have a lot of friends. They may change friendships quickly. You just be aware of that as a parent. And I would be very leery of criticizing how they handle the friendships, because it's not a good idea for parents to, force kids to be friends with kids they don't want to be friends with. There's usually a reason why kids don't want to be friends with particular children. And a lot of it has to do with our energy, right? The energy just doesn't vibe, or their energy's different or too much or too negative. But as a parent, you want to back off as much as possible when your kid, engages in friendships and when they decide to engage in certain friendships. Obviously, if you see something concerning, you're going to have to address that. But by and large, I would not be too critical of your children's friendships. And those friendships sometimes change quickly. Not all friendships are long lasting. But my point here is Libra moon children tend to be very social, tend to have a lot of friends, and they may, change friendships quickly, or they may go through the stages of a friendship quickly, and they may not always be lifelong friends with everyone. And my point here in saying that is that is okay with this energy, right? Now with Libra moon energy, because air is a masculine energy, and Libra people like Gemini and Aquarius tend to make decisions based on logic, analysis, rationality, there is a tendency with Libra moon to intellectualize emotions, to use logic and rationality when making relationship decisions. So it's kind of counterintuitive, because Libra is a relationship-oriented sign, right? But is very analytical. So these are people who, when we're talking about older children, young adults, may look at a person and say, this person meets all my relationship criteria. They're tall, they're this, they have this job, they have this color eyes, whatever, right? So I'm going to decide to be in a relationship with them. Now, when you have feelings for someone, it's not an analytical, logical thing. And this is me talking as a very logical Gemini, right? You either feel it for somebody or you don't. If you look at someone and they meet all your checklist criteria and you don't feel it for them, you don't have that, chispe, as we say in Spanish, you don't feel that chemical rush, that way about them, no amount of you rationalizing it is going to make you feel for them, if that makes sense. You feel it for somebody or you don't, right? On several levels. And you can feel it for someone who's not a good match for you. We've all been there, right? You can feel it for somebody that is just not a good match, that is not, does not make for a healthy relationship dynamic. But on the other side of that, on the flip side of that, you cannot force yourself to feel it for someone who you don't feel it for, even if on paper, intellectually, they meet all of your relationship criteria. So my point in saying all this is that with Libra moon energy, there's always a risk for this. And as your kids get older and have to navigate relationships, friendships, dating, all that stuff, you, the parent, are going to have to pay attention to this and be there to provide guidance in this respect, okay? Because kids at that age, adolescents and teens, can be very heavily influenced by the peers. And they may do something or date someone they really don't feel it for because they're figuring things out. Or because other people, their peers, are telling them, oh, you should date them, or they like you and you like them, or you would be good together, blah, blah, blah. but you don't want to discount how you individually are feeling, okay? So my point is there's always a tendency to intellectualize emotions too much, intellectualize relationships too much with the Libra moon energy. It's a very important dynamic I want to point out. You cannot always use, well, you really can never only use logic when making decisions about emotions. Yes, you can use logic in relationships, obviously. You can feel it for somebody who is just, it would not be healthy for you to be in a relationship with, okay? But you can't, on the flip side of that, you cannot only use logic when talking about relationships. And the other kind of risk with Libra moon energy, because Libra moon energy is always weighing pros and cons, remember those two, weighing the two sides of the scale, there's a tendency for decision paralysis, okay? This is also a risk with the other air signs. Decision paralysis and lack of clear decisiveness. Air sign people can change their minds very quickly. And I've talked about that in other videos with respect to Gemini. They're always taking in information. And it's not that, they are flippant, although it seems that way. It's that today they've taken in and analyzed new information they did not have yesterday, and now they've reached a new conclusion about that. So with Libra moon, there's always a risk for that decision paralysis and the lack of clear decision making because they're constantly weighing pros and cons and taking in information. So you want to be sure that you are showing and teaching your Libra moon child that they alone have the power to make decisions that affect them. Obviously, for kids, it's a little bit different. Children get increasing age-appropriate autonomy and independence as they get older and demonstrate that they can handle it. And the parent, even for young adults, parents often offer guidance, right? So I don't want to make it seem like the parents have no say over the children, but we as parents have to empower our kids to make their own decisions, right? And to make good decisions. And by good decisions, I mean the right decision for the children, for the child. Because those kids are going to grow up, right? Turn 18, whatever, leave the house, go to college, get their own place, get a job. And what happens? The parents are not there to make decisions for the kids all the time. The parents will not always be there to offer guidance for the older children and young adults all the time. So we have to teach our kids and empower them to make the right decisions right for them, right? When they're on their own. So you want to be very, clear that you are teaching your Libra moon child to make decisions and that it's okay to change your mind when you get new information. That's okay. Not everything is set in stone. But you want to make sure that they are not staying in situations they don't want to be in because of that lack of clear decision making and clear decisiveness, or because they're stuck in this state of constant, analysis paralysis, right? At some point you have to make a decision. Libra moon children do not like conflict. I don't think any of the air moon people like conflict. And they, like air, they tend to go around obstacles instead of facing them head on. They don't like conflict and confrontation. So they practice avoidance. Ask me how I know about that as an air sun, right? So that's another thing you need to be teaching your Libra moon child, is that sometimes, confrontation is inevitable. And you don't need to think about it as confrontation because that has a negative connotation. You can think of it as direct communication. And sometimes people need direct, almost aggressive communication. No, I don't want to do that. No, don't bother me. No, leave me alone. No, stop contacting me. Block them. Sometimes you have to be very direct to the point of almost aggressiveness with people. And that can be appropriate in certain circumstances. And that's okay, because very often we teach our kids to be nice. And I see this all the time. This is a big problem I have with the push to, just teach your kids to be kind. Kindness is most important. Kindness is great. But if you're being kind and nice to people and subjugating your own wants and needs and doing things you don't want to do so other people feel good, that's a problem, okay? So sometimes being nice is not enough. Sometimes, hey, please don't do this, it makes me feel really bad, is not enough. Sometimes you have to say, F off, right? And that's okay. So direct communication, it's a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. It is very important that you teach your Libra moon child to stand up for themselves, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. This is a common theme I say all the time on this channel. Okay? When you have healthy boundaries and express healthy boundaries, inevitably there are going to be people who are angry about that, who are upset with that. Why are they upset? Because they want to easily control you. They want to easily manipulate you. Or they want things how they want them because it's easier for them. It's better for them. But that does not always mean it's easier for you and better for you. In this case for the Libra moon child, right? So healthy boundaries are very important. I have a lot of material on this channel about that. So especially in regards to Scorpio energy. So you can check that out. Expressing healthy boundaries is not about control, right? We've said it before on this channel. It's not about, I'm not going to let you do this. It's, hey, I don't like what you're doing. If you continue to do that, I'm leaving this room. If you continue to do that, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. If you continue to do that, I will not be able to spend any time with you anymore. That is not control. That is your expression of a boundary. And that is fine. And that is healthy. And for a relationship-oriented sign like Libra, it is very important that we be teaching our kids this and how to do this and how to communicate directly, clearly, and maintain healthy boundaries. Okay, so kind of related to what we're talking about, Libra moon people are very, very good at putting themselves in the position of other people. Okay, we've talked about Aries energy before on this channel and how fire people are not the best at putting themselves in the shoes of the other person, right? It's hard for them to see things from the other person's point of view. Not necessarily a bad thing, because fire sign people generally are very good at advocating for themselves, which I love and I wish I saw more of in the world in general, okay? But Libra is the opposite sign to Aries, and Libra people are very good at putting themselves in the shoes of the other person. Sometimes too good. Sometimes they risk losing themselves in the other person, in the energy field of the other person. So again, this is very consistent with everything we've been talking about in this video so far. You want to make sure you're conveying to your Libra moon child and you are telling them that their wants, individual wants, needs, preferences, values are important and they matter. They do not matter less than the preferences, values, wants, needs of other people and of the other people in the relationship. Make sure you're communicating to them not to lose themselves in the friendship or the relationship, okay? A relationship, whether friendship, romantic relationship, it's two people coming together, but I don't like to think of it as one entity because then lines get blurred, right? We're all one universal consciousness, right? But it still is two different expressions of the consciousness, okay? And it's okay and healthy to maintain your individuality in the relationship and in the friendship. And that includes in the parent-child relationship. Remember, as I always say on this channel, our kids are not extensions of us. Our kids are sovereign entities, separate from us. And during the adolescent phase, starting at age 12, 13, kids start to really identify their sense of self and identity. And this is a huge developmental step where they need a lot of guidance. So you want to make sure you are showing them that their individuality is important and you are supporting them in their developing their own identity and sense of self. And to the point of, and when we're talking about Libra moon children and this potential dynamic to lose themselves in the energy field of the other person and almost be too good at seeing too detached, almost losing their identity, you'll see this expressed sometimes as the Libra moon child not speaking up for themselves, not answering questions directly, not voicing preferences even when they're asked. Okay, so make sure you're asking your kids, your Libra moon kids, these things. What's your preference on this? There's no wrong answer here. I'm just interested to know what you think. Or what would you like to get for dinner tonight? Or what do you think about this, right? Sometimes they're very leery about stating what's on their mind or what they think or what their preference is because they're afraid it's going to conflict with the preference of the other people. So again, as I always say on this channel, make sure you, the parent, are the safe space for them. Make sure that they know they can express anything to you and communicate anything to you without you becoming emotionally dysregulated, without you becoming too reactive, without you criticizing them, even if it's something they know you're not going to want to hear, right? Or you're going to be upset about. Kids are going to do things parents disapprove of. They are, especially adolescents and teens. They're going to do things we're not happy about. They're going to do things we disapprove of. They're going to do it. You did it when you were a kid, right? Am I wrong? So how the parents handle that is everything. So in the Libra moon child, a energy like Libra that already doesn't like confrontation, that already doesn't like to displease the other person, when they come to you and express something they know you're going to be unhappy about, that means that they think you're a safe person, right? They know you're a safe person. That's what you want. You want them to come to you when they're in trouble or when they do something and there are some serious consequences about it, right? So you want to make sure those communication lines are always open and you're not overreactive when they come to you to share something with you, even if it's something you're not going to be happy about. Remember, air people, Libra especially, it's really easy for them to give up their autonomy and give decision-making power to somebody else because they're constantly in the state of weighing pros and cons and almost decision paralysis, that sometimes for them, especially kids, it's easier for them to hand over that decision-making authority to someone else, usually the parents, right? And sometimes it's easier for the parents. Okay, well, I'll just make this call so I don't have to wait for you to make up your mind. But obviously that does not serve Libra moon kids as they grow up and become adults, because again, the parents aren't always around. Other people may not have their best interests at heart. So please, please encourage your Libra moon children to express their autonomy, to self-champion, to speak up, even when it makes other people uncomfortable. And you can do this, you can start to do this by asking them questions, and it can be low-key questions. Like I said, what would you like for dinner tonight? Or we're going to order takeout. What's your vote? Or what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What movie would you like to see? We're going to go to the movies tomorrow, and it's your turn to pick something. And whatever decision you make will be okay, and we'll go see the movie. Ask them direct questions about likes and dislikes. Ask them direct questions about, oh, that's an interesting situation I heard about or read about. Like, what do you think about that? What would you do in that situation? Encourage them to start thinking for themselves. Because if that is suppressed, that the need for autonomy, right, and self-expression and self-championing, speaking up for yourself, if that's suppressed when they're kids, it's going to be harder for them to do that when they're adults. It's going to be harder for them to speak up for themselves. And people that don't speak up for themselves, engage in people-pleasing, have poor boundaries, can't say no, as we always say on this channel, they end up with a whole host of problems as adults. Sometimes there's so much stress they're carrying and burden they're carrying that manifests as physical illness. So even though sometimes it's uncomfortable for the parents to encourage the kids to make their own decisions because they take too long to think, they take too long to make decisions, they may be a little wishy-washy, it's essential that you do so, because you're teaching them how to do it so that when they get out of the house, they can do it for themselves. Again, even when it makes other people uncomfortable. I cannot express how important that is for childhood development. So that's what we had for you today. Our next video is coming up soon. You can now watch my playlist on Libra children and let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you have any questions. And it is good to be back doing my regular, normal content. And I will see you soon. Thank you.